Welcome back, everyone. Today is a perfect day to start building the cabinets, and I think we're going to start with the upper cabinets above both the windows in the living area. This area is kind of a unique area. I think what we're going to do is from when the windows start here, we're going to measure up, and it's about 14 inches, and then we're going to measure out about 12 inches from there, and that's where we're going to start the cabinets for above both of the windows. On the one side where the driver's side is, it's going to go to about 30 inches from the refrigerator. This is where it's going to stop and line up with the cabinet below, and then the other side here on the passenger side, we're going to stop it right where the door actually starts. So take some measurements, and then we're going to start cutting some plywood. So the first thing I needed to do was take some measurements, and then after that I started actually cutting the wood. I used a circular saw for the big pieces, as you can see here, to make sure that I had the length of the cabinets that I wanted, and then I started cutting the width of the pieces of the cabinet that I needed. There were going to be 4 pieces total for the cabinet itself. After that, I measured where I wanted some pocket holes. So here's the one that I got off of Amazon. After finally figuring out the pieces that I needed and the measurements, I decided to test it on a piece of scrap plywood. The testing process on this took a little bit longer than I thought it would, but after I made the measurements, I got the depth that I needed for the 3/4 inch plywood. Then I started to attach it to the back piece of the cabinet first, and I started with that one. And then once it was actually together, as you can see here, I put it up to test fit the actual length and the height, and then the measurements that I needed for the next piece of wood, where I cut it, and then I was able to use the table saw to make it the actual width that I needed here, so it fit up there. Then, again, I needed to measure, and once again cut some more wood to get the last piece that I needed for the cabinet. After that, I was test fitting, as you can see here, a piece of trim for the LED lights so that I knew the depth of the front trim piece and how far to attach it. Then I decided to sand it down a little bit more, any of the rough edges, and I used, again, pocket holes to attach it to one another. But after this, I got a clamp so that I made sure everything was tight and it was together and perfectly square. Here it is, test fitting it to the cabinet itself. After I fit and it was 90 degrees and the cabinet was together, I then took the cabinet in to put it exactly where it needed to be. And that's where it's going.
Looks crooked.
Yeah, the bus isn't level, so. Here is the cabinet installed, and then I made another cabinet that's going to go over the lower cabinet. So here is the driver's side, and then here is the other cabinet I made for the passenger side. After they were made and put up, I decided to start staining them when they were up there, just using 1 coat of stain to see what it looked like, but I knew that it was going to need more than 1 coat of stain. Here's the stain that I used. It's a dark walnut, and I started with the driver's side cabinets and then worked my way over to the passenger side cabinets. Here's what the cabinets look like with 1 coat of stain on them. There's no polyurethane or finish on it yet, it's just the stain. After they were stained once, I knew that I needed to sand them down because they still had some rough edges, so I decided to bring them outside of the bust, sand them all down again, and then re-stain them. Here is the 2nd coat of stain that I used on it. It definitely made the cabinets a lot darker, and that's the look that I was going for when using the stain. So here's that extra smaller cabinet, and I wanted to attach it to the longer one so that when it was put up there, the whole front of it was completely flush, right in this area right here. So the first thing I needed to do was make more pocket holes so that the front lined up, and then I drilled it from the front first to make sure that was all flush, and then I worked my way around the back side of the cabinet. And just for reference, this is how long or how tall that full cabinet is. Now I had an issue with the bottom part that you were going to see, so I needed to buy some edge banding, and I had it in iron that you would attach it to because it had some heat activated glue underneath. I made sure to go over it a few times just so I knew that it was completely glued to the bottom of the cabinet. The one issue is that this was a lot lighter than the stain that I was using for the cabinet, so I decided to stain the cabinet again and then also stain the edge banding. So here's what it looks like stained and then not stained. So it matches perfect when it's stained. So all the cabinets are down. So we have, that's the one that goes above there. That one is the one that I combine, that will go above here. And then we have this one down here, that will go right up here. So this is my attempt to get this long cabinet in. It took a little bit more than I thought it would, but I finally got it up there. And here's what the cabinets look like, fully stained. Now the only thing I need to do is add some polyurethane to them. So I hope you guys like the cabinets, and I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you in the next video.